Good morning, students. So today we are going to continue further with the last part of it. We are going to see some other important industries that are a part of India's economy and which are very well established in India. Okay, so those are the very first thing that we are going to do is chemical industries. Come on, now what comes under chemical industries?
Pesticides,
Pharma
insecticides,
companies,
Okay, pesticides, pharma companies. Then anything else?
Petrochemical,
Petrochemical. Okay. Then
And fertilizers, chemical fertilizers.
okay, good, good.
cleaning products,
Cleaning products. Okay. Now, if you actually try to classify them, into large scale and small scale, which products that you named just now will be a part of large scale industry and which will be a part of small scale industry?
pharmaceutical will be large scale industries.
Pharmaceuticals will be large scale industry.
even
Even
petrochemical.
yes, and pesticides and fertilizer.
Fine. These industries are diverse and fast growing. They are a mix of large and small scale manufacturing units. So just now we were talking of that only. Chemical industries are both a large scale and a small scale unit. Okay. And certain products which are manufactured under this are fertilizers, paints, caustic soda, soda ash, etc. These manufactured products often are raw material for other chemical industries, making them their own biggest consumers. What does the last sentence mean to you?
Like the last sentence is that like all these products which are produced, these are the raw materials and these are used by other companies, and then they make
Yes.
something else from it.
Yes. So that means this industry is the only industry where actually what they produce is consumed by their own industry. Okay, when you talked of iron and steel, it was like it was being used by different kind of industry, not necessarily iron and steel industry itself. But here this is being used by what is labeled as chemical industries. So the product of one chemical industry is again a raw material for some other chemical industry itself. So it is one of their biggest consumers also. Now, second industry that we talk of under this is the fertilizer industry. These industries gained momentum after the Green Revolution in India. So, what is Green Revolution? Have you heard of this? Green Revolution. What is Industrial Revolution? You have studied in your previous term, I think, previous unit. So, basically, Industrial Revolution means what? Where a lot of changes. Revolution means a sudden change, right? Sudden changes happened in the field of industry. So because of that, urbanization started, and there were many other things which led to the development of people because the income earned from it helped the country.
Did they start using means advanced and modern equipments?
Yes. So what would be a green revolution? If industrial revolution is development in the field of industry, then green revolution will be development in field of what? And again, the title itself should give you one hint. Fertilizer.
agriculture,
Agriculture, right? It is a important revolution in the field of agriculture. They revolve around certain fertilizers, namely urea, phosphatic fertilizers, and ammonium phosphate, and some complex fertilizers. So, when Green Revolution started, the idea was to get maximum produce from agriculture. Now, if you want to get maximum produce from agriculture, obviously you require fertilizers, number of fertilizers, depending upon the type of soil that you are actually having in your farm. So, expert can suggest you which nutrients or which fertilizers you need to add. So, based on that, this industry actually gained a lot of momentum after the Green Revolution started in India. Now, potash, the only problem is potash that is used is not available in India in too much of amount. It is mostly imported from other countries. Okay, the next is cement industries. Come on, name some cement industries in India.
Ambuja,
Then
Birla,
Birla.
Ultratech,
Ultratech.
Good. So, do you think this is a large scale industry or a small scale industry?
Large scale.
Okay. Now, read the raw materials mentioned here and tell me where will you place it under raw material based industry? How will you classify it?
mineral based,
Mineral based. Okay.
Ma'am, can you repeat the question?
Based on the raw materials that are mentioned here, that is limestone, silica, and gypsum. Where will you place this industry? It is
Okay, minerals.
classified.
Textile industry.
Is based on what? What kind of raw material?
Ma'am, like cotton, jute,
So where do you get it? How do you
from
get it?
plants.
From
From
plants,
plants.
from agriculture, right? So those
Yes.
are agro-based. What can be grown in the fields or farms and what is used as raw material is agro-based, and what is derived from the ground, the minerals, those are mineral-based. Okay. Now, it is important to have industries where coal, electric power, and transportation are widely available. So, we have already seen in the previous class what are the factors affecting location of any industries, and the factors that affect the location of this industry should be where coal is abundantly available, or if not near the coal reserves, then at least the transportation to it is easily available. That means infrastructure is in proper place, and also high amount of electric power supply is necessary, because in the previous two, when we saw aluminum smelting, and which was the last one that we saw, iron and steel, in that we saw what, that the production becomes less if these things are not present, correct? So areas where high amount of electricity supply is there, or non uninterrupted or uninterrupted supply is there, they will those areas will be good places to set up those industries. The good quality of manufactured goods has ensured that this industry does well in export as well as production. So yes, you are right, this is a large scale industry because they produce good amount of it and they also have access to export it. So it shows that it is a well thriving industry in India. Okay. What is automobile industry? Car manufacturing.
It's vehicles.
Yes, okay. And in car manufacturing, why there is a demand? Because
Ma'am, because it is a transport,
yes,
mode of transport.
required for transportation. Okay, now what increases the demand? The increases this idea that every coming year or every few months there is a new design in the market, or the same design is maybe upgraded with some new facilities or new kind of things that upgrade the model. Okay, that is the reason this industry is in huge demand. And because automobiles, people like to own automobiles, people like to use automobiles. Okay, so it is making their daily life convenient, easy. So this industry is in huge demand. Now these industries are primarily centered around well developed cities since the demand is far more. Now, most of the time, when you talk of the factors affecting location of this industry, it will be near the cities. Why it should be near the cities? Why it should
Because
be?
they are more developed.
Because it is, yes, because in urban areas, people use transport more rather than in rural areas. Correct?
Yes,
Rural areas, the means of transports are very indigenous, whereas
they
in,
don't have roads.
yes, so in the cities, this demand is high. All right. Now, come on. What do you know about this sector? Because I'm very sure many of you have planned of having a career here.
Software, hardware, or
Software, yes.
Networking.
So
communication.
Communication.
yes, so it is the most important industry these days. If you talk of IT industry, it is the tertiary sector industry, and electronics is consumer goods industry. Correct? So we
Ma'am,
have,
how tertiary sector?
huh?
How IT and electronic industries are tertiary sector?
IT sector is tertiary, but electronics
Yes,
is
how?
consumer.
Okay,
IT,
how?
yes, because see, tertiary means what? Service providers. So IT uh, actually is providing tertiary service only. It is providing service. This is IT service is like, or even when you talk of this IT in banks, banking is a service sector, right? It's a tertiary sector.
Yes.
Yes, and electronic goods are consumer goods. So we are talking of both here. We have already studied how Bengaluru emerged as India's Silicon Valley. So what happens here in Silicon Valley of India? It has more companies which are related to information technology. Um, that is the reason the name is taken from US Silicon Valley, and it is set up in Bengaluru in India. The success and development of the electronic sector leads to a subsequent growth of the IT sector. So it is a related industry. The amount of developments in telecommunications or electronic sector will lead to growth of IT sector, because just as what you talked about in the previous period, how industry is complementary to agriculture. So same way, whatever new developments happen or whatever new thoughts come to the mind of an engineer, it has to be applied to some place, right? So does he apply it? It is through the depends on how, whether he's electronic engineer, he's telecommunication engineer. So he is dependent on the software and the hardware that's produced in this IT industries. Okay, so they both work together. Currently, these industries provide ample employment opportunities to people settled in the cities. So in this industry also, if you talk of people who actually build up this, that is people who are directly related or software, those are skilled laborers, and people who work under customer care or etc. are need not necessarily be skilled labor, but they are having a good background of English, or they are having a good background of using that equipment without any effort. So is this clear? Yes. The next is I'll open the map. On the map, you are supposed to mark this. So just as last time I showed you iron and steel and textile, this is here IT industry. Okay. So that I'll open the textbook in a while. Before that, we'll finish with this. So yes, come on, start telling me your views about industrial pollution and environmental degradation. How do industries cause pollution, or how are they adding to the scenario of already existing pollution?
Like the chemical industries pollute the river and all by throwing the waste.
Okay. Chemical industries pollute the river by throwing their waste. My question is, will air pollution be caused only by a certain set of industry?
No,
No.
even we can.
Yes.
Like firecrackers.
Yes, but the smoke, when I'm talking of the harmful effects of smoke in the air, the harmful gases that are released in the air because of the industrial waste, that we did not classify it into some different type of industry. It will be any industry which is not actually treating the waste properly, and then trying to discard it. So, okay, water pollution is there, air pollution is there. What other type of pollution can be caused?
Soil
Noise.
pollution.
Noise pollution.
Noise pollution, thermal
Soil
pollution,
degradation.
water pollution.
Okay, how does industrial development lead to soil degradation?
Ma'am, the usage of some fertilizers results in degradation of the land, and we cannot farm on it again.
Okay, same way, if we are discarding the industrial effluents without treating them, then possibly some of them gets absorbed in the soil, and the traces of those chemicals are left back in the soil, which will have harmful effect again, and in due course of time it will affect the quality of soil. Yes, then what else?
Even the making of landfills and everything.
So you are aware of many things over here. Good. And how does industry cause noise pollution?
The machines, like
The machines make noises.
Good. And is there any way that we can avoid all this that you spoke just now, whether air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution? Can it be avoided? Any suggestions?
Water pollution can be treated by not throwing the waste in the water,
Okay.
and just preserving it, like means until it just evaporate and just.
Okay, or then first and foremost treating the effluents, that means trying to remove the harmful effect from it, and then discarding it safely. Okay, and that too not in places of utility, because that may cause, because some traces are definitely left behind how much ever we treat them. So we have to take utmost care of it. So air, water, land and noise, these are the.
Ma'am, but noise pollution can't be treated, right? Because the machine would make noise. In future it can, but for now it cannot. We cannot.
Yes, but as we are saying that everything gets upgraded, maybe something will come to human mind. Just as to avoid our ears from getting too much amount of sound, we put those earplugs or something in the ear so that we save ourselves from the excessive sound. Same way, maybe machinery can be made because of can be made in such a way that it produces less amount of sound. Like nowadays in the market there are those vacuum cleaners who are sound
Yes,
they don't make sound like
yes,
our
yes.
normal vacuum cleaners. So once it has been started applying to small scale in the sense smaller gadgets, it can be easily done to huge things also. Okay, then the poisonous gases and smoke released into the air are responsible for air pollution. Toxic gas leaks like the Bhopal gas incident bring about long-lasting ill effects to the life of the area. Do you remember Bhopal gas tragedy? You have studied this.
Yes.
Yes.
What was it about? What
And I
was
don't about the chemical factory losing the control upon if it's one of means the valve went faulty
And what
and
was
the chemical got mixed with water means the something product got mixed with water and it produced some
yes, so
toxic
because of
gas.
because of inhaling that toxic fumes, many people lost their lives. And later also, after few years, in fact, after that also, people did not have access to clean water or good medical facilities. And even the person who was in charge of that plant was not held responsible, and he was also not punished by the court. So thus the people who actually suffered did not seem to get justice even after years of that. So these incidents are really unfortunate. So we have to avoid this. So majority of the times it is better that industries are located outside of the cities, main cities, so that if such, especially industries related to chemicals, because their harmful effect is much, much more as compared to any other industry. So they have to be placed outside the city, and the industrial waste should be treated well enough before discarding it. So adverse effects of air pollution are hazardous for everyone, not just humans, but also to animals and plants. Industrial waste that is released into water sources without any treatment leads to water pollution. So if we don't treat the effluents and just directly send it to river bodies, then the water may be polluted, thereby affecting the marine lives. In between, had you heard of the news where they were saying that, the people like us who eat non-vegetarian food, who depend on prawns, they said that there are certain that was caused because of obviously because of a oil spill, but yes, industrial waste can also lead to such kind of thing. That means there were mercury, what do you say, traces of mercury that were being settled on the shell of that prawn. So as you know, it is very, very hazardous, because when we take such kind of things from the market, we actually are not aware of how much pollution has gone into that ocean, isn't it? So it is our duty to actually safeguard all this. Dyes, fertilizers, oil refineries, rubber waste, etc. are some of the main culprits. So these are the things which, if not treated properly and discarded directly into water bodies, can cause harmful effects. Solid waste like iron and steel leftovers, fly ash, etc., are also mixed into water sources, thus polluting them. So, all the industrial waste where you actually burn something in the furnace, and because of the extreme heat, the ashes that are moving out from that furnace all have traces of those molten metals, and we are actually trying to do what we are trying to purify that metal from the ore. So it contains lot of impurities. We are already mixing some other chemicals into it or other minerals into it to get it into purified form. So mixing of all this into water bodies can cause harmful effect. Okay, next is thermal. Now, thermal means hot. That means industries use lot of water. Lot of amount of water is used by industries, and when this water is let into the uh, rivers without actually cooling it, then it causes all the more problems. So it causes thermal pollution. Nuclear waste is adversely known to affect humans. waste that is percolated into the ground also results in groundwater pollution. So waste that gets absorbed in the, like the waste is in a matter of is in the form of a slurry, or if it's a semi-liquid, you just throw it off from the pipes that are behind your industry, and if it just seeps through on the in the ground, or collated means absorbs or seeps through in the ground, then it can slowly and gradually affect the underground pollution. It will lead to underground water pollution. Thus, next is noise pollution. It causes stress and many auditory problems. Okay, give me one example how noise causes stress. See, when we are talking here of industrial, people who are staying in and around industry continuously get to hear the sound of the machine. Similarly, if you see in today's, just talk of outside the industry world also. If you're living in an area where there is a railway station near, where there is an airport near your house, so constant. Now you can say that because of this COVID situation, the number of flights and all have reduced, and so the sound may have, of that aeroplanes may have reduced. But earlier, every minute there used to be one takeoff, and the people living in nearby vicinity would definitely have a lot of problem, isn't it? So continuous amount of this sound does not allow us to sleep well, and once we don't sleep well, we get a lot of stress, and we try to, like we make silly mistakes in our work. We get angry on small matters because we are not keeping good health. Our mental health gets distracted. We are not able to sleep, and hence we are not able to perform well. So industrial activities are often the cause of these loud noises. Other than what is mentioned about, it also causes blood pressure ailments, heart diseases, etc. Because lack of sleep ultimately leads to number of other problems where your body is not at rest. You don't give enough rest to your body, and then finally these are certain ways in which body reacts for being that weak. Okay. Now, controlling environmental degradation. Please pay attention. There is a second question that is asked in your assignment based on this. Okay, a number of sensible steps should be taken to ensure industrial pollution is curbed. Now, what can be those steps? What can be those steps?
Ma'am, curbed means prevented, right?
Yes, control or
Okay.
prevented. Yes, both.
Regular maintenance of industrial machines, which can reduce noise pollution.
Okay. Then machinery can be redesigned to make them more energy efficient. Because okay, I'll explain this point with in relation to your question number 1 that is asked in the assignment. Okay. Yeah, question number 1 is how has the ever increasing number of industries in India made worse position by exerting pressure on existing freshwater resource? Okay, so this is a part of that answer where you actually, your point will be what? Industries make a lot of use of electricity. So in order to have that supply, the conventional sources are not enough. So they set up hydroelectric power plants to make more electricity. So when these hydroelectric power plants are set up, it dries up the river to its lowest area, and as a result, the existing water bodies get disrupted. Okay, is this clear? So you can make those things more energy efficient by trying to use non-conventional, but again not overusing river water. Then environmental concerns and economic development must work in sync to bring about sustainable development. Each one of us knows that a country's development level index will increase only if the industrial sector will progress. But while doing so, we have to keep in mind the dangerous effects that it poses to environment. So whatever decisions we take regarding the growth of that industry should be made in taking into consideration its effects on the environment. Here you will find the answer. So it's a 5-mark answer. So obviously what you're going to do, answer number 2 I'm talking of, I'm talking of answer number 2. So you have to write 5 points. Okay. So you can choose the points from here. Like rainwater harvesting is one of the easiest points to remember. Correct? Then treating hot water and effluents before releasing them in rivers and ponds. This can be easily remembered. Then making sure that too much of underground water reserves are not used. So you should have some legal provisions or laws in place which will curb the use of underground water. That can be done, or fitting smokestacks to factories or precipitators to factories where you can avoid the smoke being um, okay, or you can use oil instead of coal in the factories, so you are saving back on your fossil fuels. Okay, all the machinery can be redesigned to make energy efficient and reduce sound or noise. So you can choose relevant 5 points from here and then write them into, again I'm telling you, all the answers to be written in point form. Some students are still not writing it. Okay, and the earlier one, water part, which I read earlier, was how it is already exerting pressure on the already problematic areas of water resources. Is that industries require a lot of water, and while using this water, they don't keep into mind the amount that is required, and they land up using more water. Okay, so that has to be taken into consideration. Okay, and already what is that, industrial waste which is being sent to rivers or discharged into rivers without treating can also add to the harmful after effects. Means already our rivers are polluted, doing this will exert a pressure on it. So pick up the relevant points from all the types of all the types and relate it to water pollution and then write your answer. Okay, second answer is directly over here, which I marked. Yes, these are the places that were asked: Mumbai, Pune, Gandhinagar. Yes, then here, Bangalore and Thiruvananthapuram. These are the places that were mentioned on the slide. So when we do the map practice period, we will do it. For the marking, till then, refer to page 75 of the textbook for the places. Okay. I want all of you to write the definitions very properly. Okay. Right now, our time is up. So I will stop.
If you like our videos, do share them and subscribe to our channel. If you want awesome quizzes, write to us. Keep watching and keep learning with Walnut.